Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Just wanted to quickly provide you all with a quick life update. So I'm going to Greece for a vacation with a couple of high school friends tonight actually, so as a result I won't be around for the next 10 days or so as I'm on vacation, and I won't be able to get episodes of Road to Ranked up. However, as a result, I'm still going to make sure there's some VGC content going up, and so what I'm going to do is, for those that didn't know, Kansas City Regionals took place this past weekend and it was streamed on my Twitch channel. Even though I wasn't there competing or commentating, Mike Selesky and Andrea Ray kindly offered to host the tournament on my Twitch channel, so it was streamed and there were a lot of really fantastic games, so I'm going to be uploading the games with their commentary onto my YouTube channel in the next couple of days, so you can still expect one upload every day at around 3 p.m. Eastern time. And some of the games are really great. They're not too long, but you can really get a lot out of them, so hope you guys don't mind that, but just wanted to keep you guys busy while I was gone. But we're just going to jump into today's episode with the Sand team. This will be our very last time with the Sand team. After I come back, I'll be doing a team analysis on it, and I'll be featuring a brand new team, so stay tuned for that. And the exact date I come back is June 5th, so should be able to get another episode of Road to Ranked, and we'll be back on consistent uploads then. But we find Ye from Japan with their rating of 1665 for our first opponent of the day. Also wanted to just quickly plug in, if you have not seen, I uploaded the Pokemon speech that I gave to my school a while back, so a lot of you guys have been asking about that. I'll link it in the description below if you have not seen that already. But let's get into this match. Ye's got a pretty awesome team, I'd say, of Raichu, Blastoise, Amoonguss, Manectric, Sylveon, and Gardevoir, so 3 potential Mega Evolutions all on the right side. I'm actually not sure what the Mega Evolution is. If I had to guess, it'd probably be Blastoise with maybe Gardevoir as a potential one. But, you know, it's weird to see Manectric and Raichu in the same team since they both have access to Lightning Rod, so really not too sure what to expect here. You know, I could just lead with my Sand immediately because Tyranitar Excadrill honestly does relatively well against my opponent's entire team. Though I could also definitely see myself going with something like Salamence Amoonguss. And I'm actually leaning towards that right now. I don't know. Tyranitar Excadrill is kind of nice though because it can break the Focus Sash, it can get switch-ins. So I'm leaning towards Tyranitar Excadrill, Salamence Amoonguss right now. Though it feels a bit weird not to bring Aegislash given how well it beats the Sylveon and the Gardevoir. The main reason why I don't want to bring Aegislash is because of my opponent's Amoonguss though. So, tough call. And Rotom can definitely make a case for itself here as well, but I don't want to bring it mainly because of my opponent's Amoonguss. I think I'm going to keep it off the field here. And you know what? I'm going to lock in and we'll see how this goes. The main, reason why I want to go Tyranitar Excadrill here is my opponent doesn't have any way to really stop the weather, so I can immediately get the Sand up, which can be, helpful because Raichu might have Focus Sash, though against the Raichu I'm probably not going to be Earthquaking immediately anyway. So let's get into this match. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share, support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. My opponent goes with the Gardevoir and Amoonguss lead, which is probably the best lead my opponent honestly could have led with. So I'm going to be able to set up the Sand, but there's a Trick Room option for my opponent right from the start, and that's slightly concerning. I could go straight for the double Rock Slide. I'm definitely Rock Sliding with Tyranitar. The question here is, should I Iron Head the Gardevoir, expecting him to not Rage Powder, and try to knock out the Gardevoir immediately? Let's see. What else could he do here? He could Protect with the Gardevoir and try to Spore me with the Amoonguss. And I'm honestly leaning towards double Rock Slide right now. But let's see. So if I double Rock Slide, I get the flinch chance right away. But then if he doesn't Rage Powder, I mean, I guess I can Iron Head to punish him not attacking with. No, I mean, I feel like he's gonna not double Protect, but Protect with Gardevoir this first turn and try to go for a Spore. So I'm just gonna double Rock Slide here. And he does Protect with that Gardevoir. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could have switched out into Amoonguss, but I'm just going to go for as much damage as I can get off this first turn against this Amoonguss. Double Rock Slide plus Sandstorm, probably bringing it around 50%, though it took it really nicely from that Excadrill. Tyranitar, of course, getting that same type attack bonus boost, though. So, yep. He successfully does get the Spore off, though, which I'm sure my opponent is quite pleased about, targeting the Excadrill. So, it's great for my opponent. Unfortunately, not able to get the flinch there. Around 50% chance to flinch when both Rock Slides connect, but it is what it is. I made the right play in predicting Gardevoir to Protect, but there wasn't much more I could have done. I think here I'm just going to go for another Rock Slide. The question is, should I switch out into Amoonguss here? I could honestly see myself switching into Amoonguss. But I could also burn a turn of sleep immediately with Excadrill, and part of me wants to do that. And you know what? I'm going to go for the try to burn a turn of sleep here, just because it's really crucial that Excadrill wakes up in the following turns. So Tyranitar connects with this Rock Slide. Let's see if I can get a flinch here. I'll do a good amount of damage to both of those Pokemon, proccing the Citrus Berry actually from Amoonguss. You know, Rocky Helmet being one of the more common items. You don't see Citrus every day. Do manage to flinch the Amoonguss, but Gardevoir successfully gets up Trick Room, so obviously that's not very good for me here. The Trick Room is really to be expected, so yeah, I mean, when you see Gardevoir, you should basically expect Trick Room, especially when paired with the Amoonguss. Though he hasn't Mega Evolved, so obviously he probably isn't Mega Gardevoir. I assume he probably has Mega Blastoise in the back. So let's see, if you're my opponent here, you should probably Spore the Tyranitar. So I kind of want to just switch out into my own Amoonguss, and I guess I'll try to protect here with Excadrill. No, though I think I should try to go for an attack instead. You know what, I'm just going to go for the Iron Head to knock out Gardevoir, knowing that his Amoonguss can't really do any damage to my Amoonguss. So, you know, we have an Amoonguss versus an Amoonguss mirror match here, obviously, but that's not too much of an issue. Oh, but he smartly goes, for the Giga Drain onto Amoonguss, so I'm guessing he's doubling up on it with probably a Dazzling Gleam. Let's see. It's Gardevoir. Nope, he goes for the Moonblast instead. Okay, that's perfect. So the Amoonguss switching works quite nicely here. Let's see if I can wake up with my Excadrill. Unfortunately, nope, I'd take a second turn of sleep. But that's alright. As, you know, Sand is slowly taken down for my opponent. I'm wondering how slow that Gardevoir is. Amoonguss should be slower, so I should be able to just get a Spore off. So that's what I'm going to go for. I'm just going to Spore, and I could Rock Slide. Yeah, I'm going to Rock Slide here. Okay, so that's one turn of Trick Room down. He goes for the Giga Drain onto Excadrill, doing a very good amount of damage, actually. But I don't really want to switch out because I don't really want Salamence to faint. So I do get the Spore successfully off against this Gardevoir, as I do outspeed it under Trick Room. Let's see if he has anything crazy like a Lum or a Chesto Berry. Nope. So that burns a turn of sleep immediately. Let's see if Excadrill wakes up this turn. No, I do take a 3-turn sleep, which is slightly unfortunate, but that's fine, as we do take some sand damage here. Okay, so that's 2 turns of Trick Room gone. He does have the chance of waking up with Gardevoir immediately, and that would be a bit frustrating since I did have to take a 3-turn sleep, but let's see. Could switch out here. Probably don't want to, though. Let's think about this. Part of me wants to switch into Salamence here, honestly. But he could punish me if he wakes up and somehow Moonblasts the Amoonguss slot. You know what? I'm going to do it, though. I want that Regenerator, and I'm going to go for the Earthquake here, since I'm definitely waking up with Excadrill. The reason why is this allows me to spam Hyper Voice the following turn, whereas if I had a Amoonguss in, Trick Room might end, but I need to make sure I can knock out the Gardevoir and not get another Spore off with that Amoonguss. So this is what I'm trying to set myself into. He does, fortunately, stay asleep with Gardevoir for one more turn, so both of our Pokemon really staying asleep for a lot this game. He gets another Giga Drain off against my Excadrill, get a critical hit as well, so it's done a lot of damage this game, healing back a considerable amount. Excadrill finally wakes up and it is able to get that Earthquake off, which should be able to knock out the Gardevoir after the sand damage and do a fair amount to the Amoonguss. And yep, that's exactly it. So Trick Room also ends the next turn. Sandstorm subsides here, which is fine because I can just switch back out into Tyranitar and set up the sand as we see what comes in. But this has been a really fair and balanced game so far, and I've been enjoying it. You know, you don't see normal Gardevoir used too much. It looks like Sylveon's coming in here, which is quite a good Pokemon for my opponent to have. So with one more turn of Trick Room, that's actually slightly problematic. What I'm going to do is Mega Evolve, Protect, and switch out into my Amoonguss here. So the nice thing is Sylveon can't really beat Amoonguss unless it has something like Psychic or Psyshock. But then the thing is, most of the times when you're using that, you're probably Choice Spec, so that means you can't really knock out my Salamence. So let's see. Salamence is going to Mega Evolve here. I don't really need the Intimidate given that my opponent's team doesn't really have physical type attackers. So I'm just going to get that speed boost. I'm going to go for the Protect here. And the Amoonguss switching here is nice, so what I can do the following turn is actually switch my Salamence back out into Excadrill. He spores Salamence and goes for the Hyper Voice. Yeah, which is kind of to be expected, as I would think that is Choice Specs. Trick Room does expire here. So I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to switch out into Excadrill and just spore the Sylveon. Presumably, since it's Specs, he won't be able to really do very much against the Amoonguss, so I'll be able to get the Spore off. He'll probably knock out Excadrill, but then I get to switch in Salamence for free. So he Rage Powders, but I'm 100% okay with that. He's probably not expecting me to be... He probably expected me to stay in just Double Edge. So he does get the Hyper Voice off, but this is exactly what I was playing for. So he does knock out Excadrill, which faints, but, you know, I'm just playing it safe right now. I'm going to be able to put the Sylveon to sleep. It's going to be forced to take at least one turn of sleep. And now it's a pretty good position for me because I can just Hyper Voice with my Salamence. So this is exactly what I was trying to set myself up for, and it worked out quite nicely, so I'm pleased right now. I might actually switch out Amoonguss just to get the regenerator health right now, so I think that's what I'm going to go for. Going for the Hyper Voice, setting up the Sand once again to get that residual damage adding up. Of course, it adds up for both ends, but I don't really mind it adding up on my end. So, looking at my opponent's team, he probably has Blastoise or Manectric in the back, and, you know, both of those make sense. So, Amoonguss deals with them relatively well if I can get some health back up, which is why I'm going to switch out into Tyranitar. A Scarftar can also outspeed and get Rock Slides off, so I'm definitely feeling pretty good about my position right now. We'll see what he goes for, though. He does not protect with either Pokemon or switch out, so Hyper Voice does successfully get off. Knocks out the Amoonguss, so Sylveon takes that decently, but it has to take a turn of sleep here. You know, if it woke up or had a chance of waking up, a Hyper Voice there would have been quite deadly, but not the case. So, pretty free turn of damage for me here. We're gonna see what my opponent's last Pokemon is, though. It's really good to have Amoonguss, though, and Amoonguss is one of my favorite Pokemon to use this year, especially because of how nicely it deals with those fairy types. So the last Pokemon comes out from my opponent. It is gonna be that Blastoise, which is a pretty good option for my opponent to have. You know, I could just Rock Slide here. I could just Hyper Voice Rock Slide. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that. Let's see what he does. Blastoise, of course, has the chance of Fake Outing. You know, I could have played it a bit safer, but the thing is, I want to capitalize off Sylveon being asleep right now. The longer I wait, the higher of a chance it has of waking up. So, if it doesn't get a Wake Up immediately... Oh, he doesn't even Protect or Fake Out with either. So, yeah, that should be game, I think. As Rock Slide and Hyper Voice do connect with both of my opponent's Pokemon. Let's see how much it does. Does knock out the Sylveon. That's perfect. So I was a bit scared like he would have gone for the Fake Out there with Blastoise in case he had it, and I actually get the flinch that insult injury there against the Blastoise, but that really was game at that point. Once Sylveon went down, he had no way of winning the game. But I was basically scared that he would be able to, you know, get a Fake Out off with Blastoise and get a one-turn Wake Up with Sylveon. That was like the worst case scenario, because then I would have been able to get damage off. Hyper Voice would have knocked out Salamence, but then, you know, I would have just been able to Rage Powder Rock Slide the following turn, or even just Spore Rock Slide, so I think that he didn't have enough to deal with Salamence and Tyranitar at the end. If anything, I was kind of surprised that he didn't try to bring in the Mega Blastoise when Trick Room was actually up, so that was probably what I would have done if I were in my opponent's position, but a really fun game there. You don't get to play against Mega Blastoise every day, though it didn't even do very much, and, you know, normal Gardevoir with Trick Room was pretty scary to fight against as well, so we're just going to jump back onto the ladder. This will be our final game with the Sand team, which we've played a lot of games with, you know, but it's been a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And like I mentioned, I will be doing a team analysis on this team when I am back from vacation, so stay tuned for that as we find Wildfire from Italy. This is my Swamp with a rating of 1780 for our next opponent of the day. He's got a team of Kangaskhan, Suicune, Breloom, Thundurus, Landorus, and Entei. So other than the Entei, you know, relatively standard looking team, but the Entei definitely is quite intriguing here. You know, I know that some players actually like to use either Choice Band, Life Orb, or even Safety Goggles Entei, and all of those are quite viable. So let's see what I want to lead with here. I do think Amoonguss is really good here if I can avoid the Entei. So, tempted to go with that as a lead, especially because it can potentially break a Focus Edge from Breloom, setting up a Salamence KO. I kind of like Rotom Amoonguss here. Yeah, Rotom matches up with my opponent's Pokemon quite nicely. Definitely want Salamence in the back, I think. And for the last one, I don't know, I think Scarftar is actually quite good here. Aegislash can make a Cades for itself, but I'm going to go with the speed here. I'm going to lock in. Don't like the matchup too much, honestly. I think it's slightly in my opponent's favor. Breloom itself is very difficult to deal with when you're running Tyranitar Excadrill, and Rotom Wash, so, you know, you basically have to try to knock it out before it does any damage to those three Pokemon. But Entei here is also quite scary, but I think Rotom and Amoonguss is a relatively safe lead, unless my opponent goes with Entei Breloom. So let's see. It's Entei Kangaskhan, which isn't as bad here. So, Entei exerts its pressure, which is fine. What do I want to do this first turn? Could actually double switch out here. The thing is, he might go for the Sacred Fire with Entei, and I just hate the burn chance of that. So that's my biggest concern right now. Could also just double protect this first turn, but I do like switching into Salamence and Tyranitar. And you know what? Salamence doesn't mind getting burned. Yes, I'm just going to switch into Salamence and Tyranitar here. Get the Intimidate off against both of his Pokemon. Get my Scarftar in, which can threaten both Pokemon with, you know, Rock Slide. The main thing is, once Entei goes down, Amoonguss, you know, can really shut down my opponent's Pokemon, so I don't want it to faint. I don't want to put myself in a position where my opponent just gets a chance to knock it out. So I'm going to play as safe as possible, and the Intimidate here obviously helps against his physical type attackers as well. Right now I'm just trying to figure out what Entei set he is, you know, whether he's the physical variant or maybe he's special, though I've never actually seen a special Entei. So I'm assuming he's physical, and that's why getting into Salamence here is great. Let's see if my opponent predicted the switch outs though, which he definitely could, but you know, it's really risky to go for like a power up punch or a low kick onto Rotom Wash. He does just go for the fake out immediately, probably targeting the Tyranitar slot as he does, so that doesn't do anything. We'll see what Entei goes for. I know sometimes Entei's like to carry Substitute as well, and there we go. Wow, I actually called it. So I wasn't entirely expecting that, but a nice move for my opponent to have there. And that's going to be able to obviously shield him from Rock Slide for one turn. Okay, so that's pretty neat. He's leftovers, so he is sub-lefties. I really wasn't fully expecting that, but you know, I do think this puts me in the best position I probably could be in. Now the thing is, I don't think Rock Slide Hyper Voice will knock out Kangaskhan, so I could go for the Hyper Voice here, which actually goes through Substitute, and I could superpower the Kangaskhan. And honestly, I think I'm going to go for that play. I can't let Kangaskhan just knock out Tyranitar immediately. If he switches out, that's fine. Nothing on his team can take a Super Power and a Hyper Voice. And you know, Rock Slide could have knocked out Entei's Substitute, Hyper Voice would have gotten good damage off, but then, oh, he actually switches out, so he makes a very good play here. Into the Landorus, a smart play, probably trying to get that Intimidate off against, I'm not sure if he knows what Salamence that I'm writing there. I don't know if he was expecting the fighting type attack, but, you know, now it makes me kind of look silly for not going for the Rock Slide Hyper Voice, but regardless, I'll be able to get some free damage off here, and free damage is always good. But I'm wondering what this Entei is going to go for me, perhaps a Will-O-Wisp. So I do confirm that I'm Choice Scarfed here, unfortunately blowing my bluff. Superpower obviously isn't going to do very much there, so yeah, it would have been better to just Rock Slide Hyper Voice, but I am going to be able to get a Hyper Voice off. It's going to do a lot of damage to both of these Pokemon, chunking under them, under 50%, and he goes for the Snarl with Entei. Interesting. So this is obviously a very bulky, kind of disruptive Entei with Snarl, but very cool to see that. And it puts me in a pretty bad position. I don't know, I mean, once again, the Entei is still getting attacked through the Snarls, which is obviously good. Or not the Snarls, the Hyper Voices. But let's see what I want to do this next turn. I think I should just play it safe, protect with Salamence, and switch out into Rotom Wash here. And that's what I'm going to do for. He's probably going to U-turn with the Landorus, so in my opinion that makes the most sense. So I could have went for the Hyper Voice, but I don't want to risk getting any Rock Slide damage right now, knowing that Salamence still outspeeds my opponent. So I'm just going to play it as safe as possible right now. There's little downside to it. Of course, he will be probably able to get a U-turn plus Snarl off, but I don't want to risk him getting a Rock Slide off. We'll see what he decides to lock himself into, though, with Landorus, because I'm assuming he's Scarfed. As Entei protects. Oh, that's interesting. So we've seen Protect, Substitute, and Snarl. So the last one, probably a Fire type attack, but not enough to knock out Amoonguss, I presume. He does go straight for the U-turn, though, so very smart playing on my opponent's end. And I do like that turn a lot for my opponent. So I could have, you know, predicted that a bit more aggressively, but like I said, I just didn't want to take a Rock Slide to that Salamence. I would guess he's going to switch in Kangaskhan once again. Yep, going to be that Kang. Okay, well, that's fine with me, as we all take some more Sandstorm damage. So let's see now. I'm not sure if another Hyper Voice can knock out Entei, which is my biggest concern right now. And of course, I can switch into Amoonguss right now to try to predict who Kangaskhan's going to target. Or I could just Hyper Voice Will-O-Wisp here. Let's think about this, though. I should probably conserve Rotom, knowing that I feel like he's gonna fake out Rotom here. Faking out Salamence would be, I mean, I could also switch into, oh, I could pull a double switch here, actually. I like that the most, yeah. Knowing that his Entei can't do very much to my Amoonguss, I'm going to pull the double switch here. Mainly because I know Rotom beats that Landorus pretty hard in the back. And, you know, it's highly unlikely he goes for like a low kick here onto the Tyranitar slot. So, and if he fakes out the Amoonguss slot, he's going to be taking Rocky Helmet damage as well. So let's see what he goes for. Nope, he goes straight for the double edge. I also thought this was a play he might have gone for. So Amoonguss, being as bulky as it is, will be able to take that. He's going to be taking so much recoil damage here. But, you know, obviously good for my opponent here to get a lot of damage off onto the Amoonguss, but that plus Sandstorm will probably put it in Rock Slide KO range as he goes for the Sacred Fire targeting the Tyranitar slot, which I'm fine with, as long as he doesn't burn me here, so fingers crossed, because that doesn't do very much damage. Does he get the burn, though? Unfortunately, he does. That is really frustrating. Okay. Of course, you know, that's the chances you deal with when it's 50%, but that's really annoying. So that does confirm its 4th attack, Sacred Fire, Snarl, Substitute, and Protect. Very cool to see a Entei around here, though. It's not the most common of Pokemon. Okay, so now I'm going to just go for the Rock Slide. I can Protect with my Amoonguss, or I can switch out into Rotom Wash. Rock Slide. You know, or I could just Rock Slide Spore Entei in case he doesn't Sacred Fire, though he probably will. Do I want to conserve Amoonguss? Because right now I'm thinking I want the free switch into both Salamence and Rotom Wash. Yeah, I think I might just sack both of my Pokemon this turn. He does Protect Entei. Okay, that's fine. So, it would have actually been fine. I mean, unless Kangaskhan... I'm curious what Kangaskhan goes for here. Does he Low Kick or does he Double Edge? Of course, I can flinch here. Wouldn't have even needed to flinch if he didn't burn, but it is what it is. He goes... Ooh, the Drain Punch! Wow! So, I have not seen a Kangaskhan with that in really about forever. Ever. But that was, like, one of the best moves my opponent could have had. So, he actually is able to heal back, obviously, from that. Spore is not going to affect Entei. Sandstorm goes down. Okay. And he does heal back more from Entei. So I can bring in my Salamence here and just go for Hyper Voice. This is a really close game. But he hasn't revealed his last Pokemon yet, which is probably the biggest issue. I think I'm just going to Hyper Voice and switch out into my Rotom Wash. I do need that Regenerator back. I don't think Hyper Voice is enough to knock out Entei in that range, but we'll see. Kangaskhan switches out, which I'm 100% okay with. I don't really mind it. As a Thundurus comes in, so that does confirm his last Pokemon. That is not a good Pokemon to see, especially since I lost my Tyranitar earlier on. So, yeah, that burn was definitely unfortunate. Let's see what he goes for here. Hyper Voice does get off successfully, of course, going to be able to go through that Substitute. Is it enough to knock it out? It actually is. Wow, nice. Oh, as he got a critical hit. So perhaps I actually should have spored the Kangaskhan slot. That would have been really, really good momentum management for me here. I think we're going to see Landorus come in here. But right now, Rotom Wash deals with my opponent's Pokemon pretty darn well. So this game is still definitely far from over. But that was a really clutch Drain Punch from my opponent's Kangaskhan. Really the one move that really would have kept him in this game, I think. If he fainted from the Sandstorm, I don't think he really would have been able to do very much. But the thing is, Kangaskhan now puts on immense pressure against my Rotom Wash. So he does bring in the Kangaskhan here once again. Okay, let's think this through. So, we've seen Drain Punch. I mean, I presume Sucker Punch is his last move. He could just HP Ice, Salamence, fake out Rotom. But he could also double wedge the Rotom knowing I could switch into Amoonguss. So if he double edges, I could just Hyper Voice Thunderbolt. I also don't know how fast the Thundurus is, which is kind of my main concern right now. You know what? I think I'm just going to Hyper Voice Thunderbolt here. Oh, I should have Thunderbolted Kangaskhan. Oh, no, but he does fake out Rotom. Okay. So that procs my Citrus Berry. And unless this Thundurus is faster than Salamence, which it actually can't be. Yeah, so I guarantee to get a Hyper Voice off here. Oh, but he goes for the Swagger. Really? Okay. So he's rolling the dice right now. Let's see if I can attack through the Swagger. I actually think this just might be the game right here. Ah, I hit myself in confusion. As Rotom flinches. Okay, I still have one more chance here with another Hyper Voice. Do I want to Protect or Switch? Okay, so if Hyper Voice just knocks out Kangaskhan, then I'm still alright. I guess this is still the same position we were in last turn. Hyper Voice. Kind of want to Will-O-Wisp the Thundurus right now, just for that residual damage adding up so I can Protect. Hyper Voice. He's probably going to Swagger my Rotom too. But if I Will-O-Wisp the Thundurus, I can't put it to sleep, I guess. But that's not really an issue. Yeah, I'm going to go for the burn here. He does Sucker Punch, probably targeting Salamence. Yep, that should have knocked me out. So I don't mind the Sucker Punch here. It just comes down to whether Salamence can attack through. Come on, get it off. Yes, it gets the Hyper Voice off. Okay, great. So at least that goes in my favor. Oh, but Kangaskhan doesn't go down. Ooh, that's not good. He goes for the Thunderbolt onto Rotom. Will-O-Wisp does target down the Thundurus, but I'm afraid I've fallen back a bit too much. I think I should have doubled up onto the Kangaskhan there. That's not good for me here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, okay, I'm definitely switching out into Amoonguss, and I'm protecting with my Rotom here. So the bulk of Kangaskhan is really pulling through right now, and then of course Hyper Voice being a spread attack is also not helping my case. But, you know, at least I got one Hyper Voice off, and I kind of misplayed there, I think, by not KOing the Kangaskhan, since once Kangaskhan went down, you know, Kangaskhan's the biggest threat to me right now. But let's see what he goes for here. Kangaskhan goes for the Drain Punch onto Rotom. The Thunderbolt coming out onto Rotom as well. Okay, so that was a perfect turn for me. Yep, he does have Citrus Berry with Thundurus. That's to be expected, really. Now we're in a really interesting position. So Rotom protected last turn, so he can kind of double edge that spot with confidence. Do I want a Rage Powder though? I mean, I guess you can double edge a Amoonguss. No. This is actually what I'm going to do. I'm just going to protect my Amoonguss here and Thunderbolt the Kangaskhan. I'm going to allow him to knock my Rotom out, so I get a free switch into my Salamence. Yeah. So he goes for the double edge. Oh, wow. Onto the Amoonguss slot, but he's going to Thunderbolt Rotom. Oh, no! Wow! That was a really questionable play there. I think you should double edge Amoonguss. No, you should double edge the Rotom. I mean, if I were my opponent, you know, Rotom has to protect or switch out, and Amoonguss has to Rage Powder, so I basically got a very free turn there, one that I was definitely not expecting, and this works out very, very nicely for me. Of course, the game is still not over, but I think that just gives me a huge window of opportunity to win this match. So we've seen Thunderbolt, we've seen Swagger. I'm guessing he carries Taunt. I mean, that would make the most sense to me. So I'm just going to Giga Drain and Hydro Pump the Landorus. Once Landorus goes down, I win this game. He's going to go for the Swagger, though, so maybe he doesn't have Taunt, instead opting for Swagger. So rolling the dice here. And it's all honestly in my opponent's favor, which I'm not fond of. Let's see if Rock Slide can knock out Rotom, though. As it does. Oh, it gets a critical hit. Okay, well, can Amoonguss get a Giga Drain off or attack through this confusion? He gets the Giga Drain off. If I went for the Spore there, it would have been game over, but I was predicting the Taunt. Don't knock it out. Oh my gosh, this is so intense. Okay, so I bring in Salamence, but I'm presumably he's Scarfed, and if he is Scarfed, then I have to hope that I attack through the Rock Slide this turn, or that he misses. So I'm gonna Giga Drain, and I have to protect here. Let's see what he goes for. I'm wondering if Landorus actually would have knocked out Rotom without that crit. So he reveals Thunder Wave as well. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously just maximizing his chances of trying to shut down Amoonguss right now. As he goes for a Rock Slide. Hits the Amoonguss. So it all comes down to this turn. Is it enough? Can I attack through the Power Flinch? Oh, no. Unfortunately not. That is a dang shame. So, I mean, at this point, I think I have to play for a Rock Slide miss. I'll Giga Drain here. Let's see. Do I go for the double? Could be worth going for the double. You know what? I think I'm going to go for it. Yeah. I fail. Does he miss Rock Slide? Nope. So that's going to knock out Salamence. Oh, what a close game. That was really, really intense. But unfortunately, my opponent pulling away. I don't feel like I played particularly bad at any point. Unfortunately, Swagger just coming out for that Thundurus. If anything, I should have really just knocked out the Kangaskhan instead of going for the Will-O-Wisp, since I was assuming the Hyper Voice would knock it out. I'd say that was probably the biggest misplay I made in this game. But that was a really, really good game. Unfortunately, you know, that's the thing. This team doesn't play too nicely against Swagger when you have like Amoonguss, and the odds were definitely in my opponent's favor, and that was kind of the win condition he was playing around. So great game to my opponent there. Really, really close one. It, you know, basically came down to a bunch of dice rolls in the end. If anything, I really wish the Tyranitar didn't get burned, since obviously Tyranitar does so well against Thundurus, but it is what it is. Sacred Fire having a 50% chance of burning as well, which is why it's a really good move and why Entei can definitely have a lot of, you know, potential in this format. But yeah, two really fantastic games for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed that. That second one really came down to the wire, but, you know, really fun game in that. But hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, leave a like if you did, and I shall see you when I come back from vacation. Stay tuned for all those matches from Kansas City Regionals. Have a good one, guys. Peace.